So, okay, let's get started. In today's webinar, we're going to be talking about the dynamic mindset key to achieving project success. And to talk about mindsets, today we'll have Nilfer Erdebil, founder and CEO of Spring 2 Innovation. She's a TEDx Audio speaker, author of the international best-selling book, Future Proofing by Design, and has dedicated her career to assisting organizations in achieving remarkable advancements through design thinking principles. So with that, I'll pass it over to you now, Fred.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. As Fernanda mentioned, my name is Nilifer, but feel free to call me Nil. And we are going to run through dynamic mindset today. And I love having interactive sessions. So if you have any comments along the way, feel free to write it in the chat. I'm going to be posing a lot of questions to you too. So I'll be looking in the chat for answers as well. And as Fernanda mentioned, if you have any technical challenges, feel free to chat with her in the chat. So a little bit about me for those that might not know me. I have a great team with me. Fernanda is part of a larger team of trainers, facilitators, marketing and admin folks that are here to help all of our clients in achieving project success. For myself, I was actually born in Turkey, in Istanbul, and my family came here when I was 7.5 years old. And so I feel like I grew up in a different type of an environment with different mindsets, and it's always really interesting and fascinating for me to contrast the two different types of lifestyles and the ways that people live in different countries. I do a lot of speaking engagements throughout the world, Canada, US, Brazil, and conferences in Europe. I have a TED Talk and the book Future Proofing by Design. And in my spare time, I love to figure skate. And so I'm an adult figure skater. And you'll hear a little bit more about this as we go through the presentation. Today, we're going to chat a lot more about mindset and thinking through what mindsets are essential for success, both personally and professionally. And we're going to talk a lot more about the dynamic mindset that's needed for change and for transformation. And so before we get in, I want to chat a little bit about mindset as a whole. As I mentioned, I love figure skating. I love to figure skate. And last week was the World Figure Skating Championships. And fortunately for us, they were held in Montreal. And this is actually a picture of the Canadian pairs team. It's Diana Stiletto-Dudac and Maxime Deschamps, and they ended up capturing gold in the pairs competition. I had the privilege of watching them. What's so fascinating about this couple is that Diana actually retired from figure skating when she was 17 years old. Skating is one of the sports where most people are doing it when they're quite young. And she went into the workforce, and 16 years after retiring, she was at a work retreat, and someone was giving a presentation on mindset, and they asked her, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And in response to that, she thought about how much she loved figure skating. And so her answer was, well, if I knew I couldn't fail, I'd want an Olympic gold. And so after 16 years of being retired from figure skating, she went back into the figure skating world. She was doing singles skating when she was up to 17 years old. And when she went back, she decided to switch into pair skating. She began skating with one partner and then ended up switching with another partner that was a better fit. And at the same time, she also ended up switching countries. So initially she was skating for the States, and when she was skating for the States, they didn't want to support her. They felt that she was too old. And so she ended up switching over to Canada. So a lot of changes in order to get to her goal. And last week, she and her partner, Maxime, skated to a world gold medal in providing both a great long and a great short program. And so Deanna is now 40 years old and is the oldest figure skater to medal in figure skating, and she's still en route to her Olympic gold dream in 2 years. And so you have to have different types of mindset in order to think about what is possible, to go after your dreams and to continue to pursue it, even though the people around you are saying that it's not possible. So with that, I want to start off our presentation thinking about the types of mindsets that we are in. Are you aware of the mindset that you have, and how would you describe your mindset? And earlier in the conversation, we opened up with that and we had some really great comments. Feel free to put in more. We had some comments around the type of mindset you have and how would you describe your mindset. So we had the failure and fail forward mindset, mindset of troubleshooter, unconventional, mindset around coming up with alternative ideas and needing to get others on board with our ideas. And then there's a mindset of costs too much money. And so, yeah, and that's related to all of these are different types of mindsets and different framing that you have in your mind. I think the cost too much money is also associated with a scarcity mindset too. And we'll touch on that a little bit and talk more about actually being aware of the mindsets we have and then thinking about the types of mindsets that we want to get to as we go through the presentation. I'm going to keep reading the chat. So as we're going through, keep thinking about, are you aware of your mindset and how would you describe your mindset? And so for me, the first time that I started thinking about mindset was probably in junior high school. I was in junior high school out on the west side of the country in Alberta, Edmonton. And I didn't consider myself someone that was particularly athletic. And so this is kind of funny because at the time I was figure skating as a youth. I was biking around, but I think I was praised more for education and getting good grades. And so in a weird way, I had a fixed mindset that I was not athletic, and that's how I define myself. I define myself as someone that's more into school and into education. And I would say the friends that I had around me wouldn't describe themselves as athletic either. But I think it was grade 8. We had a gym class where we had to do as many laps around the schoolyard as we could. And it was a fairly large schoolyard. And they had combined 2 or 3 classes together to do this run. And because I didn't think I was athletic, I really wasn't looking forward to the class. And what was really fascinating is as we started the running, I was hanging out with my friends and we ran for a little bit and I realized this is a little too easy. I want to step it up a little bit more. And so I told my friends I was just going to keep going at my pace. And so I upped my pace a little bit. And I started passing folks and I was kind of wondering, this is a little slow. I'm not sure why people aren't going a little bit faster. And so I kept going and I kept going. And as I passed more and more people, and I still felt that it was fairly easy for me to keep going, I was wondering what was going on. And it was 12 minutes, so it's not that much time. But as I progressed further and further, I didn't feel that tired. So I kept going, I kept passing more people until near the end of the race, where I ended up passing people that I thought were athletic. And I ended up coming in second place. The first place person that did more laps was actually on a swimming team. And so she was actually on the provincial team. And so that was no surprise that she was athletic. But I think what was more surprising is I ended up ahead of a lot more athletic people or people that I thought were athletic. And it got me thinking, why do I think that I'm not athletic? And I think that was the first time that I started considering how I perceived myself and how it could help me move forward and it could also hold me back. And that's something that I personally struggle with throughout my life, is having shifting mindsets in order to be able to adapt to the different types of environments that we're in, that I'm in. And as I've moved forward in my career, I've realized that mindsets make a huge difference in terms of the team's outcome on whether teams are successful or unsuccessful. And what are the different types of mindsets that teams need to have in order to have a dynamic mindset and in order to make sure that the projects that they're working on are successful. I actually have another question for you. How has mindset affected your projects in the past? So feel free to write into the chat and I'll read it as you guys are typing it through. But mindset does impact our work, our mindset in our professional lives, our mindset in our personal lives. And it's fascinating that the two cross over as well. So our mindset in our professional lives can impact our mindset in our personal, and our personal can impact our professional lives. Yeah, and so, yeah, comments around how has mindset affected your projects in the past? One of them is around you start out but don't finish projects and don't know how to get to the finished component of it. Yeah, and I think mindset has a huge impact too, because with mindset, there are different ways of looking at it and different blocks that happen if you don't have the right mindset. There's also another comment in here on approach. Throw the ball forward and then catch up. That's true, yeah. And so maybe thinking of something aspirational that you want to reach and then knowing that you're going to catch up to it. Another comment in here on managers having mindset. External vendors know better than own team members. Yeah, sometimes in larger organizations, especially, is there's perceptions on and mindset around who is the authority and who knows what's best for the organization too. Yeah, so mindset is impacting our projects both positively and negatively. And so as we're thinking about mindsets, is thinking through the type of mindsets that dynamic leaders need to have. And so dynamic leaders take initiative, set ambitious goals, and drive quickly towards them, and then taking concrete steps to transform ideas into reality. And I think that plays a lot with throwing the ball forward and then catching up as well too. And then the other aspect of it is people with dynamic mindsets have a passion for persuasion, and they're good at rallying colleagues to action and influencing change. And so with mindset, it plays really well into a program that we have called Deeper Clarity. It's about unlocking dynamic mindsets to think differently. It's about team alignment, strategy, methods, and tools. It's about unbiased collaboration with customers and progressive action based on new insights, empathy, and clarity. And so the reason I spend a lot of time talking about mindset is because it does impact projects so much. And it's not necessarily about one person having the right mindset. It's about getting the team onto different types of mindsets and thinking about how everyone is showing up for the project at different stages of it. And it's also a lot about thinking about who in your team you can go to help you shift your mindset, and the types of mentors that you can have and where to find those mentors to get your mindset into the right space. So I just mentioned Deeper Clarity. And so for those that aren't familiar with Deeper Clarity, it's actually a methodology and mindset for success. And it incorporates design thinking, alignment, strategic foresight, and mindset into it. And so a bunch of different processes and methodologies in order to get to that project success. And at the end of the day, it's about clarity to make things lighter. A lot of the time, things feel heavier and harder to solve because we don't have clarity on what it is that we're challenged with. And so deeper clarity is about providing more insights so that we can get out of the uncomfortable, get out of the not knowing into a mindset and into a state where we know what challenges are and we can put in the processes and the mindset to solve those challenges. And deeper clarity is also about shifting, adapting, and looking for possibilities and opportunities. And so I touched on some of the results. It's organizations hitting targets faster. It's teams moving from ambiguity into clarity so that they can make the decisions that they need to make. And it's on clarity on the types of end users that are involved in your challenge, in your projects, and being more team focused and working collaboratively towards the client focus. And sometimes deeper clarity also means projects not moving forward because people haven't put the time in to think about who the end users are, to think about what the challenge is that they want to solve and what those measures of success are. And so deeper clarity involves a combination of mindset, alignment, design thinking, and strategic foresight. And it's the mindset part that we're going to focus in on today. And so why the dynamic mindset? It's because our personality and behavior changes sometimes depending on what context we're in. And so for me, I might be showing up as a different person with my kids at home than I do in work environments. Sometimes people show up differently in their volunteer roles than they do in their work lives. And also, when we're in situations, we actually act in habitual or fixed ways rather than observing the dynamics amongst the people and responding to those dynamics. And so, if we've always showed up a certain way for work or for projects, or if we've always showed up a certain way for the sports and activities that we're in, we get into habits and continue to show up that way until we consciously think about it and make sure that we're doing the work in order to show up in a more dynamic mindset. And also sometimes teams and leaders focus on preparing for key functional and technical details without thinking about the people, the human dimension of it. And so it's about adapting to the needs and styles of the people that are in the room, that are working on the projects with you, and also partners too. Oftentimes we end up falling into this gut assumption trap where there's a lot changing in our world. And so sometimes there's not enough clarity or alignment within our teams. There's so much information coming at us, and we might feel overwhelmed with it. And sometimes we don't take the time to understand who we're trying to create impact for, and using past experiences and gut feelings to design new products, services, policies. And so deeper clarity is about pulling back and getting beyond the gut assumption trap, getting beyond our regular mindset and getting into the mindsets that are going to help us achieve project success. So in order to create dynamic mindsets, there's a few things that I do and I recommend to people in order to start to begin to shift their mindsets. So for me, I find it really helps when I change physical environments, whether it's going from home office to the office, or going into a coffee shop, or sometimes it's traveling is a great way to shift mindset. Is you're exposed to a different type of an environment, different people, and I find that really helps in creating dynamic mindset to see and feel how you are in different types of settings. I love seeking people that are there to help me get out of my realism zone as well too. And I love this terminology, realism zone. Some of us are really great at being visionary and going after aspirational goals, and some folks are more in the realism zone. And I would classify myself in the realism zone is I think of more of what's currently in my realm of possibility. And I have amazing folks around me that help me think about what the art of the possible is and to see what is beyond my comfort zone in a way. And so I love having these mentors, these friends, colleagues that help me get out of the realism zone to help me change my mindset. And I mentioned supportive people in the community. And so everyone on this call has people in their environments that are very supportive. And so spending a little bit more time with them to help change the mindset to get to more successful life and to more successful projects. I love also changing my mood through movement and exercise. I find sometimes if I've been sitting at my desk for a full 8 or 9 or 10 hours, sometimes it's busy, sometimes I'm snacking on lunch throughout the day instead of getting up and getting a chance to walk outside or just to even go up and down stairs in the office. it really makes a big difference for me to move in order to shift my mood. And then also, the final way that I love creating a dynamic mindset for myself is surrounding myself with people with different backgrounds, cultures, and interests. I'm always amazed at how people have different interests and backgrounds, and I want to find out more about them and find out how they think about the world and how they see problems and projects and challenges, and just absorb the way that they think and learn from them. And, it's actually, there's a couple comments in here that physical environment can impact mood and mindset, which, yeah, that's awesome. But it's actually sometimes for some of us hard to get out. And so it does feel good when we do, but how can we get out a little bit more? If it's physical environment, if it's through movement, or if it's sometimes having those friends to call up to get us out of our realism zone and to give us more support too. So how does all these different mindsets feed into our projects and project success and setting up for project success? With our deeper clarity method, we've actually mapped out different types of mindsets that are really valuable when we are working through a project. So when we're first starting out a project and trying to get the team aligned, having that collaborative, open, clear, and authentic mindset really helps set the pace for project success, especially as we're aligning. And the second phase, when we're trying to connect with our end users and trying to define what that problem is, having a customer-centric mindset, an open, collaborative mindset is really vital. And then as we define the problem or reframe it, we want to think about having an open, aspirational, and adaptive mindset. And the fourth and final part of deeper clarity and project success is the experimentation, the prototyping and testing, and being really open to new ways of doing things, being open to people's input, having a growth, adaptable, and systems mindset, so that as we go from prototyping and testing to thinking about how does it fit in with everything else. So that's a whole bunch of different mindsets that I've just mentioned. I'm going to go through each type of a mindset in a little bit more detail and ask you some more questions to think about in terms of mindsets as well too. So I think the best way for me to explain these mindsets has usually been to describe our journey and my journey with my company, Spring 2 Innovation. For those that don't know about us, we started out in 2011, and we focused a lot on the private sector and management consulting. And at the time when I started the company, I was a very strong introvert. I did not like speaking in public. And I also had very young kids. And so in order to shift my mindset, I needed to get into a more aspirational, open, and growth mindset. So to go from being an introvert that didn't like public speaking to someone that does a lot of public speaking, there's been a lot of growth along the way and a lot of shift in mindset to last year, 2023 and 2024. Last year, we started developing the deeper clarity solutions for private and public sector. We launched our book, Future Proofing by Design, and we began working with universities, and now we're focused even more on the private sector. So a lot of change has happened. The team has grown. And in order to get to the mindsets that we're at right now, it's evolved into continuing even more with that growth mindset, collaborative, authentic systems, customer-centric, and adaptive. But that didn't happen overnight. And so when I go back and think about the evolution, initially, I really needed to have a growth mindset. And for those that aren't familiar with what growth mindset means, is growth mindset's terminology that was developed by a psychologist named Carol Dweck. And it basically means that we have a mindset that we can grow our abilities and intelligence through effort, learning, and persistence. The other aspect is growth mindset is about growing our abilities. Fixed mindset is feeling like we have a certain level of intelligence and we're not going to get any better. And so with growth mindset, it's about understanding that we can learn through learning, through persistence, we can get to the goals that we have. And growth mindset is about embracing challenges as opportunities to expand abilities and learning from failure too, seeing if there's any opportunities to learn and improve. And so for me, when I did start Spring to Innovation, it was a lot of growth, about thinking about what would businesses want, what sort of things do I need to learn along the way, who can I talk to in order to get to the goals that I have. And part of that also involved aspirational mindset. So desire to have more achievements, to continue to improve, to set those ambitious goals and maintain a positive outlook and persist towards those goals. And with aspirational mindset, it's often driven by clear visions of what someone wants and that they're actually achievable. And it does lead to continuous learning, resilience, and eventually to achieving one's desired outcomes. But it does take a lot of work. And down here on this slide, you can see that I've put in here a global company. And so aspirationally for Spring to Innovation, I hope to get it into more of a global company where we have facilitators and consultants and clients all over the world. The other type of mindset initially that was really helpful is the open mindset. So it's a willingness to consider new ideas and perspectives and experiences without prejudging them. And that's really hard to do because we already have pre-existing beliefs and biases. And so with open mindset, it's really important to stay curious about what we're experiencing, what we're seeing, what we're hearing, and being open to the different viewpoints and being willing to revise our understanding based on all this new information. So the open mindset characteristics really help out our curiosity, flexibility, and readiness to think about the possibility that we might not be right about something, or there might be more than one right answer. And this takes a lot of courage as well to have the adaptable, open growth mindset. So I just mentioned adaptable mindset. And so adaptable mindset is the ability to adjust thoughts, behaviors, and actions as things are changing around us. It means being flexible, open to change, willingness to learn, and typically folks that are resilient in the face of challenges are able to pivot strategies and approaches when necessary. And characteristics include resourcefulness, open-mindedness, proactive attitude towards change. And I think that's really, really helpful as I was growing the company from 2012 to 2013, as we're doing a lot of experimentation, listening to what clients want, listening to what they don't want, doing a lot of networking events, and as clients provide input, then thinking through what could we do, how can we help them out. And so from adaptable mindset, moving into a clear mindset, and so having a well-defined purpose or a goal and ability to concentrate on what's important without being overwhelmed. The collaborative mindset evolved a lot more as the business grew too. So actively seeking out others to work with, to partner with, and to make sure that we have open communication and mutual respect as we work together. And it's even more important in projects at the start to have that collaborative mindset, to think about what are some of the things that others on the team are doing? Are we on the same page? How can we work better together? And how can we create the most impact for the people that we're working to serve? Other mindset there that actually took a lot longer for me to develop is an authentic mindset. And so characteristics for authentic mindset include honesty, integrity, a strong sense of self, and leading with genuine and transparent interactions with others. And the reason I think the authentic mindset took a long time is because some of the beliefs and thoughts that I grew up with and with those around me were guiding me. And it took a lot of courage to think through what was important to me. And the customer-centric mindset as well played a huge role in being able to grow the organization, because we needed to constantly prioritize the needs and experiences and satisfaction of customers, every aspect along the way. And then one that I think we're going to hear more about, and as we got later in the growth of the company, I started thinking more about is the systems mindset. And so instead of focusing on one individual part, looking at a system as a whole and making sure that we know how we fit into a system. So understanding the system's purpose, goals, and how it fits into the larger context of the environment. And I think that's what makes it really successful, is making sure that the work that you're doing is works for you, works for your team, and then works as part of a larger organization. So how do these mindsets connect with the methodology? With deeper clarity, we have a self-assessment, and we work with you on your project approach as well as leadership approach, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that leaders are on board as we're working towards project success. Some of the assessments that we will do is around how well the team is aligned, how innovative is it, how the processes are working, and how end user driven organizations are. And of course, we also have a mindset assessment as part of it. So I know we're running short on time. I love talking about mindset. The really important part about mindset in our work environments is how do you apply your mindsets in order to build better products, processes, policies, and services. And so with deeper clarity, we have 10 steps, and with each of the steps, we have mindsets that are actually a little bit need a little bit more flexing than others. And so the first way that we start off projects is to make sure that we're aligning on common understanding. And that's within the team, within the organization's mandate, within the group's mandate as well. And you really need a collaborative mindset for it. As we think about what success looks like, as well as what challenges we have, that requires a lot more open mindset, authentic mindset, and then a clear mindset. So these are things that we can work on with you and your organizations to think about what are the 10 things that you really need to do in order to make sure that you're creating success for you and your team. And fostering that dynamic mindset is one of those 10 things. And it's about how do you encourage open new methods and approaches to solutions and create psychological safety environments where people feel free to be able to say what's on their mind. Prototype and test along the way and make sure that there's continuous alignment. So deeper clarity can be applied to anything from innovation to digital transformation to customer experience. And if you are interested, we can talk about the different levels of our deeper clarity program, where level 1 is the basic training. And we already have a lot of deeper clarity ingrained in our one-day design thinking training or our certification. We have deeper clarity solutions, which are about both training through workshops as well as coaching with them, and then follow up too to make sure that things are being implemented and challenges are being overcome, to our level 3, which is enterprise. And so helping organizations have the material, the tools, the manuals, as well as train the trainer programs. So with the deeper clarity process, the first step is to join our Deeper Clarity Network. And so if you're interested, this is a link for our Deeper Clarity Network on LinkedIn, where you can ask questions around design thinking, mindset, strategic foresight, as well as alignment. And we really encourage folks to ask any questions that they have or put on interesting articles or information that they have. It is a closed network, so we want to make sure that we're creating a safe environment for you to be able to ask all that you want to be asking. So before I finish off, I want to share one last story about the World Figure Skating Championships. And so remember I mentioned earlier on that Deanna went to a seminar, and the question that she was asked is, what if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do? So if you guys have any answers to that question, I'd love to hear them in the chat. As you guys are typing, I'm gonna close off with another story on the World Championship. So I'd love to hear your comments. What if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do? So what was really interesting about the men's event is that an American figure skater, Ilya Melanin, actually won the World Championships, and Japanese skater Yuma actually earned second place. But for most of those that were watching the event, they're actually going to remember the third place, the bronze medalist, Adam Fa from France. And that is because there's a short and a long program. And when he skated his short program, he didn't do very well. He was actually expected to place in the medals, but because he placed so poorly after the first short program, he ended up in 19th place. So that's a long way away from medals. And I think with a lot of sports, figure skating is the same. Sometimes the pressure gets to you. And I know it does for me. I don't skate as well in competitions as I do if I'm skating in practice. And so the pressure really got to Adam, and he didn't perform well in the short program. And so going into the long program, he really showed up as himself, and he skated an amazing long program. And it was just so fantastic to be able to watch. And because he didn't think he was going to be medaling, he actually threw in a backflip into the program. And so in figure skating, you are actually not allowed to do a backflip in a program, and it costs you 2 points. And so he actually had 2 points deducted from his program. Normally in figure skating, if you fall, you have 1 point deducted. And so even though he knew he had a great program, in the last 20 seconds, he threw in a backflip. And I think that was because he wanted to bring out his true self, and he believes that things like backflips should be okay to do in figure skating. And his mindset was quite authentic. This is who he was. This is who he showed up as. And one of the reasons that he did that is because he felt like there was nothing to lose, and he didn't feel like he was going to medal. So there's nothing to lose. And what's really fascinating is they have the lower ranked skaters skating first in the long program. And so he skated very early on. And then as more and more skaters that were ranked higher skated, his performance still stood out as much better than the other skaters. And as you got more and more into the competition, it looked like he was actually going to medal. And so the first and second place skaters skated fantastic. And then the next closest ended up being Adam. And so what's really cool is because he didn't have all the stress and pressure, and he felt like he could come out as himself and really not have anything to lose, he skated an amazing program and actually stood by some of his beliefs too. And so for me and a lot of my friends that were watching, this is the program that we're going to remember the most. And as we think about mindset, especially at work, thinking about, it's not just about what you've accomplished, it's also about what you felt about it and how you made the people around you feel. And so your mindset impacts how you make others feel as well too. So with that, I noticed that there were some really great comments in the chat. What if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do? And there's a comment that says, I would write a book on communication in schools for kids with challenges. Another comment on, I would work on a hobby farm basking in the sun all day. I love it. Yeah, those are fantastic. And if you guys get a chance and you think about something else, feel free to message me, send me an email on social. And as we're closing off, I'd love to know if there was a particular mindset that landed with you. So in terms of the mindsets that we were talking about, what mindset landed with you? And then also, how might you use this mindset in the next week in your work? So feel free to write in the chat what mindset landed with you and how might you use this mindset in the next week with your work. And as you guys are doing that, I'll just close off. If you do want to connect with us, you can reach out to us at Nilifer at Spring to Innovation or info at Spring to Innovation, or reach out to us on LinkedIn or on X. And with that, I'm going to also, as I wait for your responses, open it up for any questions that people might have.
If you have any questions, feel free to write here on the chat box or the Q&A. And while I resonated with the systems mindset and looking at how everything works together like a puzzle. Embrace challenges.
I like that. Yeah, embracing challenges as a mindset. And then the systems mindset. I love that. Yeah, and if you have questions, feel free to write them in the Q&A or in the chat.
And while we wait to see if anyone has, I have a question. When you have the pressure to get things right and achieve goals, and we know in organizations, people are under those pressures, how do you shift your mindset from failure to learning?
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. And we're all in those positions is we're under a lot of pressure, tight timelines, and so we got to think about how do we shift from failure to winning. And for me, I find having people around me support me and see some of the things that I might not be able to see really helps out. So for me personally, I have some great folks in the organization, and I also have a business coach too that helps me see some of the things that I can't see. And that makes a huge difference. And then it's also taking a look at what are my options. And so as you're thinking of the mindset that you're in, it might not be the type of a mindset that you want to be in, is what are some options to get you to that success? And I find that that takes a little bit of a time and different types of mindset as you're thinking about how do I get to a successful mindset. Does that help?
Yeah, for sure. And actually, you talked a lot about the personal part of it. So how do you connect the personal and professional mindsets?
Yeah, I think they are inherently connected. I know
Yeah,
for me,
all one, right? So
yeah, exactly. We do show up differently with different mindsets depending on work or home environment. But if we're having a bad day at work, it comes home with us. Or if we've had a particularly hard time at home before we even get into work, that impacts us quite a bit as well too. I think the trick is to take the good stuff and thinking about the mindset and the mindsets that you're in, and if you want, you can separate them or work more towards getting into a positive mindset, into a growth mindset, both personally and in the work environment. I think for me, having people around me to encourage me to think more aspirationally, to think more about having an open and growth mindset really helped me to get to a positive state of mind where I know that I'm working towards and am getting better, and to remember to do that both at home and in my work life as well too, because there's also a lot of stress and pressure in our home lives, whether it's things that we wanted to achieve, or whether it's our health, our kids, our parents' health, friends' health, or socioeconomics, political environment, climate. Like there's so many things that are stressors, and so how can we show up with a different mindset to grow and learn from these experiences and to move forward into an aspirational state?
okay, awesome. Yeah, so I think if we don't have any more questions, I just want to thank you, Neil, for all that great content you shared with us today. Thank you, everyone that joined us. And I hope you also found this discussion insightful and that you're living with valuable knowledge here to apply to your work. We encourage you all to continue exploring deeper clarity with our LinkedIn network and all our channels. I just shared here in the chat all of our contact information. For those that may have joined us later and want to revisit any part of today's session, we will be sending out a recording of the webinar along with additional resources that were mentioned. Keep an eye in your email for that. Additionally, we would love to hear your feedback. So when you log off, you get a survey, and your suggestions are really important for us. They help us improve and make future sessions even more beneficial. So take a look into that. And don't forget to check our website for more information. Follow us through our social media channels. You got all our contact there. Thank you again for your participation. We appreciate your time and interest, and enjoy the rest of your day. You all have a good day.